Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. Today we have one of the biggest, deepest map analysis yet, focusing in on all the themes and known events of physicality at the party, which mainly involved Noah Presgrove, how he was on the receiving end of stuff, whether that be verbally as well, physically, fights in between, to determine was Noah Presgrove really in danger, and what is the ratio of negative tense events compared to the actual documented ones, because overall the party footage seems to show things in a positive, fun light, quite relaxed and calm, and people are laughing and joking. Yet you got someone like Justin Roy that has commented in recent time on my channel claiming that I have created division within the case and community, that I have neglected certain points, and I've not acknowledged first-hand information and facts of a lot of people claiming that either Noah Presgrove was killed or was just in general in danger, which could have ultimately led to the death of Noah. So join me today as I do a response video to Justin Roy's comment first of all, and then we'll kick it off then with a deep map analysis in a balanced way to acknowledge all known events and to my knowledge and memory of what Noah was involved in or on the receiving end of, and to try and interpret it in any other way to justify a possible murder, to justify Noah being a marked man, or if it was just a big misunderstanding and it was a unfortunate coincidence based on certain actions or words expressed. Welcome to those that are still here watching my videos, and for those watching in the background as well. If you're currently here in the live premiere as a regular or a new viewer, welcome. Share your thoughts and reactions in the live chat on the right hand side of the screen. And at the end of watching this video, whether you agree or disagree with my thoughts and analysis and what Justin has to say himself, if you have any questions and answers and so on, leave it all down below in the comment section. It helps with discussion and learning, and it also helps encourage YouTube to push the videos out there so then more people get to see them. It's a critical time more now than ever because the statistics are dropping off, meaning the interest within the case is dropping off. So to try and keep the case alive and to get the reach to newer people, the level of engagement does make a big difference. Now, if you want to catch up on my previous videos, whether you've been notified or not, or maybe you've not had time, don't worry, you'll be able to find them all top right corner where the I symbol is, with some loose videos attached, which I've recently done. And if you want to support my channel, there is a PayPal link below in the pinned message of the comment section, along with a YouTube channel membership link. So I said the order of what we'll do, we'll look at Justin Roy's comment first and maybe some other people's comments just to catch up there, and then the map analysis. Let's begin. Let's start from the bottom, work our way up. Carl says, "Hey Raf, I missed you yesterday. I'm sure you needed some well-deserved rest." Well, at the time, it was just because the video took too long to make, so I couldn't get it all done on the same day. Then we got this person, "Do you post your videos anywhere else other than YouTube?" I do on TikTok when possible, but TikTok has a limit size of up to 1 hour long or below. If it's over that limit, it can't be posted, and my videos more in recent time have been over an hour long, so it's not possible. They say I'm getting off Instagram, but I think that YouTube is probably irreplaceable, and that is true because it's been around so long and it's been developed over time. There's a level of reliance on it in some way because there's no direct rival competitor. Rumble is just an embarrassment, and I've tried it. We've got Kim Jones, welcome to them. "Where do I start if I need an in-depth explanation of the light and dark side players?" In terms of individual players, well, there's no point going into depth there because it'll only cause a lot of pettiness. But my summary was the light side is basically in support of Caden Pressey and believe in him. They also believe murder and or foul play. The dark side tend to be more skeptical of Caden and question, but they also believe a possible accident as well. There's always that possibility of some on the light side maybe now skeptical of Caden compared to the past. They may or not believe murder or foul play. There'll be others that are on the fence. There'll be some that are kind of in the middle between the light and dark. People do transition over and switch and change in outlook and thoughts. The reason why we mention light and dark side, not that it was coined the term by me, it was mentioned by other people before that. I started using the terms as a form of categorization. It might not be the be-all and end-all, it might not even be set in stone, but I like using categorization-based words because it's easier, it's more memorable. Like the Kenny Veach case, M Cave hike. Is the hike all about the M Cave? Technically. Does it involve finding it? No, but is the directive and order objective behind it to do with finding it? Yes. A coined term, a familiar key word, a familiar key line, a key hashtag, right? M Cave hike, the M Cave mine shaft. Why do we call it an M Cave mine shaft? Is it because it leads to a cave? Nope, not exactly. Is it because it shares characteristics shaped like an M? Nope, not at all. But it's a part of Kenny's hike route, and it's the location where he started his recording on his M Cave hike. It's also the last known location where his scent was when he went out one final time, never to be seen again. So that's why we coin it the term M Cave mine shaft, and so on. Just like light side, dark side in the Noah Presgrove case. What do we have here? Carl says, I must be an anomaly. I support Caden, but believe now it was an accident. Lean towards Texas boys driving truck home and Noah is asleep in the back, wakes up disorientated and falls out on his head. Okay, well, I said there can be hybrids. That's what you are, Carl. That's all fine. I did mention it just before, but I am late to your comment anyway. I mean, I know some people could get a bit petty and whine or a bit bitchy. I mean, if you support Caden in his mindset believes that there is some kind of foul play and possible murder, and that Caden in that audio when he was speaking about the whole Netflix documentary thing, and I gave you a summary of it in my words from what I listened to, Caden mentioned about being willing to mic himself up, to be in the presence of partygoers onwards, meet up, hang out, be with Jack, get them to spill the beans and confess to possibly killing Noah Presgrove. So with Caden Pressey being with the mindset that there is murder and or foul play more so, then if you believe in what Caden says, but you also believe it's an accident, then there is a big discrepancy. There's a bit of a conflict. Not that it's the end of the world, but it's just putting it into perspective. If you support Caden, as in you believe every word that he says, well, Caden Pressey is for murder, or has the mindset that there is murder and foul play with Noah's outcome. But if you believe it to be an accident, you yourself, you see the contradiction there. But it depends how you support Caden. If it's in other ways, well, then it makes more sense. The only reason why I bring that up is in other more serious cases when people have been blurting it out, stating as a fact, going along with it by claiming Caleb Newton was at the party. People pushing that narrative. Some of those people pushing that were the same people to support and believe in everything that Caden says. Well, as I said and showed to you, just so happens that previously in never seen before text or messages on Facebook Messenger, Caden Pressey, in his words, said when he was there and present all that time throughout the days at the party, not once was Caleb there. 100% certainty that's what Caden said. Caleb Newton was never at the party for as long as Caden Pressey was present. So, in the general public that keep pushing that Caleb was there, and that same general public group believing Caden, well, they're actually doing Caden a disservice, if that's how you word it. They're actually going against who they're actually supporting by believing in something else which Caden has debunked in a way. So that's just a heads up. What else do we have here? Carl, have you read the autopsy report lately? Doesn't support your theory whatsoever. I can't believe people still don't understand how bad his injuries really are. Well, it seems to be, Lisa, that a handful of people say that the autopsy doesn't support a certain type of accident or falling out of a vehicle, but then the opposition say that the autopsy doesn't support a beatdown. On top of all that, there are experts. Some experts believe, or the odd one believes, a beatdown based on the autopsy report. Other experts interpret it as an accident or involvement of a vehicle gone wrong. So if the experts aren't in a consensus with one another, then what makes you think the general public will be, Sam? It's worth taking that in mind. Lisa says, what are you talking about? The light side and the dark side really has nothing to do with Caden at all. Lisa, it has absolutely everything to do with the light and dark side when it comes to Caden Pressey. Because when it comes to the army page, which could be considered the light side, majority of people, let's say at a point in time, believed in Caden Pressey and possibly still do to this day. Would you say, Lisa, you're kind of on the army page, or at least look up in that direction, or that you at least look up to other people out there, familiar names and faces, which just so happen to be a part of those pages, which just so happen to be a part of in support of Caden? You can see the chain effect. It's a food chain all linked and tied together. But would you say, Lisa, that you associate yourself with Stevie Howard? Lisa, do you associate yourself with Brooke Bounds Carter? Do you associate yourself with the Sofa Sleeve page? If you do, you could be considered the dark side. If you were communicating with those named individuals and Tim Daniel and anyone else over there, or spread about, that you, Lisa, would be outcasted and would be labelled by the army page and some people from over there and beyond as either a traitor or an infiltrator or a manipulator, deemed as a dark side supporter, deep pockets, paid off, etc. The only reason why I say that, Lisa, and listen very carefully, rewind back if you have misunderstood me. I'm giving you a scenario based on how you see yourself in what side you're on. Yes, there is no side. It's just all about justice for Noah. If that was really the case, there would be no drama or conflict, right? But guess what? That does exist. Disagreements will exist, coexist anytime, every time, but it's how people react to it. And often people react badly to it, which then leads to the conflict and drama aspect, which then leads to the outcasting, which then ends up leading to people being pushed away, forging their own groups and pages. And that can be seen as opposition in the other eyes. That can be seen as a division. That can be seen as different sides to the case, different sides to perspectives. If there are no sides whatsoever, does that mean that there are no perspectives, no multiple different theories and ideas? Got to be careful with that outlook. So all I say is, Lisa, the light side is just, you call it a metaphor, is like a visual symbolism, and so with the dark side. Is the dark side really dark? Is the light side really light? Because there is actually a bit of a juxtaposition that when you've got the darkness coexisting with the light, and yet when I'm in the presence of both, as you've seen, as I've demonstrated on my channel, that I have been welcomed better, I have been supported better, I have been given more access to material better, there's been better, clearer communication with the dark side. The term dark, the word darkness, implies negativity, implies evilness, implies corruptness, implies devastation, implies all kinds of dark and unnecessary things. And yet at the end of the day, did I become corrupted when I was around the supposed darkness? No, it was actually more positive. And ever since, it's the light side, the positive people, the so-called nice people, the so-called light, colourful individuals with the bright minds that have ended up casting aside WarLike Wrath, making false claims about WarLike Wrath, attacking WarLike Wrath's character, and so on. Do you think that's a good thing, Lisa? And then you've got the middlemen, the third group, who I've clearly outlined already, and the odd of a creator as well, ever since coexisting and forging a new allegiance between some of the army page, Justin Roy, and the odd creator out there. Bridges may have been burnt down just recently with Justin Roy and another creator out there in terms of certain posts and developments and drama and conflict. But I've got no sympathy towards Justin Roy because he should know better by now. Fully grown individual who's had more life experience than me and beyond, and yet still can't adapt, still can't change your mindset. And even when I did provide some form of advice, completely neglected. It is what it is. Lost cause, constant vicious cycle, already demonstrated and in place. I did one video, analysed it all, made all the predictions. It's all coming true with time. Simple as. So for me, there are sides, as with there are sides to different perspectives and outlooks. But the casting aside, the silly, infantile-like, degenerative, incompetent behaviour by some, where if you do disagree with Caden, you are pushed aside, you are kicked away, you are kicked out of groups, and you are labelled as the opposition. So, Lisa, if you was to say that there are no sides and it's got nothing to do with Caden Pressey, it absolutely does, Lisa, because there are countless people out there that may have been on the army page, for example, who are now a part of other pages. And why? Because at some point these individuals have simply said, I don't believe in Caden. I think he might be lying, or I think he might have made a big mistake. I think there might be discrepancies based on the visual evidence, what we've seen, and comparing and contrasting to previous and current interviews. When people have simply questioned, when people have respectfully disagreed, they have been kicked, they have been labelled, they have been pushed away by the light side, also known as by, for example, the army page, by the likes of Justin Roy and maybe some other people too. So maybe there was a side or one side at first, all for Noah, but then it fragmented and broke away. That when some people simply tried questioning Caden to learn, they were called out and labelled as traitors and labelled as opposition. So sides were created to some extent the moment when the light side decided to. There is arguments to put across with the dark side, as in the original dark side, if you want to label it like that, is just basically partygoers, parents and guardians, friends of friends, together. The Stevie Howards, the Brookbound Carters, that side that may not agree with other people out there and believe it to be more of an accident or more so not likely foul play and so on, with different opinions and outlooks. And then that dark side, that opposition, built and grew with time more with the general public forming over there because they were pushed away from the light. So hopefully that's a history lesson, Lisa, and it makes sense. This is about Noah, as Lisa says. Yeah, it's about Noah, but guess what? There's been a lot of people recently and in the past that have done a very good job making it about themselves, and they still do that now. And we'll see that shortly too. The light side wants the truth and justice for torture and slow, drawn-out murder Noah endured. The dark side believes Noah deserved to be killed. Lisa, that is an extremely reckless comment for you to say. In some ways you have absolutely contradicted yourself there, and we'll go over that. That's not as a means of me telling you off, that's as a means of just giving a bit of awareness so it doesn't fire back on yourself, okay? So just listen in a second. Because Noah was a little too confident, too funny, too handsome, and had too many girlfriends. Did Noah really have too many girlfriends? Because what's the dynamics there? Depends how you look at it. We can maybe go over the theme of some of that later in the map analysis. But you, Lisa, said this is about Noah, that the light side and the dark side really has nothing to do with Caden at all. But to say that the dark side believes Noah deserved to be killed, that's reckless, because where's the proof and evidence of that? The dark side believes that Noah Presgrove died in more of an accident-based way. I think what you're referring to, Lisa, without the context, is what Sarah Long stated at one point. Sarah Long, the sister, is it sister to Stevie Howard? Yeah. Sarah Long on Facebook made a comment a long paragraph, and it went along the lines of comparing something to fast food and eating and the consequences, but you brought it upon yourself, to Noah's death. That Sarah Long also said that, in a way, it's Noah Presgrove's responsibility, and at the end of the day, he was the one that decided to drink, he's the one that decided to walk away drunk, and so on. And can't remember it word for word, but it definitely came across as if Sarah Long was justifying it and saying Noah's death is as a result of his own actions and possible recklessness and drinking as well. So it was interpreted as if Sarah Long was saying Noah Presgrove deserved to die. And that's what triggered Jack Newton's mom to respond back to Sarah and say, hey, you got to tone it down a bit. That is a bit too far to be saying stuff like that. It's all documented on my channel, Lisa. I think that because Sarah Long is a part of the so-called dark side, you're justifying her mentality with everybody else's associated with that side as that they believe Noah deserved to die. But that's clearly not the case. So that is a very bold, reckless statement to make, and it can be damaging in some ways. So there's a bit of a contradiction. The other little contradiction about mentioning it has nothing to do with Caden, when you look back at what's been going on ever since, it has all been about Caden and the light side saying, hey, you should be going after the other people and not just all about Caden. And then the dark side are like, well, we're questioning Caden because that's all we've got to work with, because the other people haven't been leaked, the other people haven't been talked about, or it's not been shown the material as much. So it's a bit of a balancing act. Spencer says, what are you talking about? The dark side wanting Noah dead. You're twisting it to your narrative. Well, the thing is, Spencer, Lisa, it is twisting it in an extremely reckless way, which is known by the likes of Justin Roy and some other people out there on the light side at times, twisting words, misinterpreting it, or jumping the gun without the context. I'm giving Lisa the benefit of the doubt, as in, maybe what she means is what Sarah Long stated, which was interpreted and can be interpreted as Noah deserved death. Even Jack Newton's mom saw it that way as well and called out Sarah Long. But that's just one individual, a part of a bigger group or side. You can't just base off one person's statement or opinions with everybody else's. I know you can say, well, birds of a feather flock together, but then look at Jack Newton's mom, who in a way is kind of on the dark side in terms of the party goers and the mom to Jack Newton, and even a person and there's actually multiple people actually on the dark side that had to respond back either to Sarah Long or to another person commenting in another way, either calling out Noah's family and said, hey, you got to tone it down. But it gets forgotten about at times, I guess. Sam, there is that. Lisa, great summary. Appreciate that. +1, there is no dark side or light side. There is only Noah's side. But the reality is there are sides, just like how there are different sides to the possible outcome of Noah, the different theories and ideas. It's not one-dimensional. If it was one-dimensional, then technically the case should be solved by now. If it was one-dimensional and there was no sides, then there'll be no drama or much less of it. But clearly there is. Lisa says, well, the dark side is very real. Who do you think tortured and murdered him then? You can want to believe that there are no sides and it's just all for Noah and that's it. But I think the way you could use it is everybody is supposedly for justice for Noah, but not everybody's actions or words match or stand true to that original statement or belief, hence why there are sides and hence why it feels like there are detractors and manipulators and those that want to derail things. I've seen it extensively in the past, so I do have a good idea of what's going on here as well. Thank you for reading. Okay, connects, you mean comments. Glenn, thank you for watching. Stephen, did they have another killing so Stevie Howard can show the kids how to dispose of a body? Jam, thank you for your continued coverage. You're welcome and appreciate you still being about. There was a timestamp there. Agreeing with it, that's good. Appreciate that. Brenda, good analysis. Appreciate that. You're welcome. That's all good there. Shout out to Brenda. And Justin Roy here. Oh boy, what do we have? Justin says, so what I'll do is I'll read it all out and then I'll respond back. Justin says, so you have several partygoers that were at the party that all have claimed that Noah was murdered or met with foul play, yet you don't want to believe them as that's first-hand information. You are only trying to cause division. Why? Did Mikey Lair not fishhook Noah, said by several people? Is that not aggressive? Did Brylan Sweat not slap Noah on camera? Is that not aggressive? Just curious of your motives here. You do realise these lawyers are not just going to make stuff up or go off of false information. But I clearly see what you're trying to do here. Jack Newton's own words, he said they got into an argument Saturday night. I've heard second-hand information that it was aggressive. At the end of the day, the only information anyone had is from the party-goers, so who to believe? And it just so happens that some party-goers are selective and selected out of a hat and praised as a poster boy, golden goose, whatever you want to call it, like Caden Presley. But then other party-goers, like Jack and so on, are deemed as not reliable, not good enough, a few little mistakes here and there, even though Caden's made more, but Jack's casted aside. So yeah, we may only have the partygoers to go off from information and stuff, but it seems like people are selective with that. So a bit hypocritical and one-sided there, I must say. But there's a lot to unpack from what Justin Roy is claiming here, on top of the false claim that I am causing division within the community. Let me respond. So it's rather interesting, especially Justin Roy's comment, and I've just bullet pointed roughly what he said just so I can respond back to, well, show my face, because it's quite important to do so. First mention, or one of the mentions by Justin, has summarised several partygoers claim Noah was murdered or met foul play. To say murdered or foul play implies that certain partygoers believe one thing, the remainder out of a certain pool believe another outcome. But it is important to acknowledge that with foul play, there's likely murder. But it's also possible with foul play, it could be linked back to an accident gone wrong, and partygoers may have panicked, incriminated themselves by participating in foul play, but in the moment not quite thinking. So just in case people started countering it by saying, well, when Justin Roy is referring to partygoers claiming it's murder or foul play, you know, it's the same thing, right? Not exactly. Murder and foul play makes sense. Accident leading to foul play, not as likely, but still possible. Just wanted to make that clear. And the problem is, I think he was getting at, you know, these several partygoers have claimed this and that, and why you're not acknowledging it, Wrath, why you're not going into it deep enough. Well, the thing is, honestly speaking, I don't remember seeing several partygoers admitting that it's murder and foul play. Caden Pressey, okay. Alicia, yeah, she's not a partygoer then. Robin Smith, at some point, yeah, and maybe more so now. That's a family member of Noah. You see where it's going? Mikey Lair, what has he said? See, this is the thing. Justin Roy may have seen it, I haven't, so I can't really talk about it. I don't see the post online. I don't know where it's coming from. Several party goers. Who are they? Caden Pressey and who? Who are the named individuals? Why, Justin, do you have to be so vague? I don't know if sometimes, Justin, when you're speaking to people as if they're supposed to know stuff when they're not in a position to know, or they may not be aware, but you might. There needs to be a level of patience and leniency there and understanding. If you do have access, or if you have reached out and people have reached out to you with from the horse's mouth, these party goers, or on behalf of somebody else as a messenger, screenshots, hard evidence to show actual party goers vocally, verbally, or in text, writing it down, something like that, by saying it's murder and foul play, or it's just foul play. I haven't seen it. Caden Pressey, over the course of time and with his attitude and what he's actually said in his own words, he hopes at one point, like Partners in True Crime, he hopes no one is responsible. He hopes the best friend isn't responsible because that would be upset him. So in a moment like that, he wasn't directly saying it was murder, but he wasn't completely dismissing it. He was saying if it is a possibility, and if it was, I just hope it's not. But then in another interview, and maybe onwards in his comments and stuff, really focusing more in on the murder aspect and foul play, just like how Caden was willing to mic himself up, even if it meant death, even if it meant being in danger, to get justice and to get people to speak out and reveal and get the truth of who killed Noah. That's bold enough. So I can understand Caden Pressey and what he thinks. But Caden doesn't represent several party goers. So Justin, down below in the comment section, list the names of the party goers, the several who believe it to be murder or foul play, and give an explanation as to how and where and when you heard about it. If it has been posted online, I haven't seen it myself. Was it in the really early days? Was it in 2024 onwards? I've just not seen it. And to be honest, if it really is true, of course it's really important. But if someone like me and other people likely haven't heard or seen it before, don't you think it should be reiterated? And not just like how you said it in your words and vaguely put, but links, hard evidence, a repost, something at least. See, at the end of the day, when it comes to my focus and looking back on stuff which I remember, which other people may not or may have never seen, I repost, I look back, I look at other photos just to bring it back into discussion. When it feels like something has faded away, when it feels like something is loosening from the grip, try and hold on to it, right? And that doesn't just have to apply in a case, it can apply anywhere in life. But I don't think enough people will be willing to grip onto it. They'll just let it slide, let it pass by, let go of it like it means nothing, right? Yeah, at least in my mindset, if it's important enough, at least try to hold on to it or onto something or someone just to see what happens and to bring back awareness, right? And so on. It goes in many different ways and it does run very deep. When covering it one time, people may see it. When covering it again later, bringing it back up, it might bring in newer discussions. It might bring in a new update. If it's not led to anything in the background, right? Nothing else has happened since. So I do another video. Sometimes there is an update. Sometimes there's a bit more clarity as to what's happened, but it just didn't come about. Some people didn't really spread the message. Some people didn't spread the word or make it public, but then I did, and then it acted as like a bit of a catalyst. I see, that's what I mean. Unfortunately, in life, I am the catalyst. It's not fun. There's pressure. It's that thought of, if I don't say anything, if I don't do anything, nothing will get done. And I don't mean just on a one-on-one solo basis. I just mean externally. I shouldn't have to be the catalyst. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's many other humans out there that aren't catalyst. They might just lay back like that. What happens? I'm not complaining about the YouTube aspect. Sometimes you have to be a catalyst. It's your own channel, for Christ's sake. Of course, I get that. But other times it just gets a little bit tiring, a little bit boring. It's that thought of, if you stop being a catalyst, what ultimately happens? When you stop being a catalyst, it's almost like a deathly silence. Like how it is now. That's what it is. That's what I've experienced with time. And like with cases here and there, though, I've experienced, if I've stepped back or looked at something else and previously it's just gone very quiet, very empty. kind of like temporarily on one part on a Reddit page, even though people don't like to take credit or acknowledge it because people got their heads so far rammed up their arse. There was a time where, because of my activity, it was keeping things going. It's been going since, which is good, but there was a period where I was active and then I stopped and then it just went somewhat quiet. It's interesting that. But really, at the end of the day, if you stop being the catalyst, it does go quiet, not much happens. It's when humans have the cheek to call you out. When humans have the cheek to say that you're the problem just because you stopped being a catalyst. What the fuck were they doing? Sat on their arse doing F all. Consuming and that's it. I do take that extremely serious, and that's only because I've experienced it for so long in life. But that aside, pushing besides the catalyst aspect, I just feel that Justin Roi's approach isn't always clear enough, and there's like an expectation for other people to be on the same wavelength and know what he's on about, when he might not give the original context or the full story or the clear names, the backstory and all that. At least when I try, and just in general in life, I always try to give a backstory. I always try to make it clear and so on, even if it is a bit boring and I do talk a bit too much, but I just want to make it as clear as possible because I find it important to do so. I don't want to confuse people or the situation. I want it to be realistic as possible or close to. So several partygoers, are we talking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Who exactly? Are we talking Brylan Sweat, Mikey Lair, Isaac Rojas, them lot? But why has it not really been shown public? I mean, those said named individuals that I gave as an example, I've never really seen them post public online. So has Justin Roy come across them privately, or screenshots have been passed on, conversations? There might be the odd one with Mikey Lair, as in supposedly, Mikey was too scared to speak out, but not much else could be said about that due to the circumstances, implying that murder. Does that justify several people? Well, Caden, Mikey, Caden public, Mikey not public, right? Some people may have seen more. You can't expect the general public to know if they've not been given the opportunity or chance to see it for themselves, or for the general public to be given an opportunity again for things to be reiterated and shown as proof. Not seen it myself. So for me to be called out or criticised for not including this or that, I think it's a bit unfair when I don't actually have that material in the first place, or it's in a way where the material is locked behind people gatekeeping it, or locked behind conditions where it can't be physically, visibly shown public, right? I'm talking about that. There's not really much more I can say about it. Then Justin says, you're the only one trying to cause division. So supposedly from 2023, even though I didn't exist in the case then, to 2024 and onwards to 2025, that the most problematic person in the Noah Presgrove case is WarLike Wrath, the one who's made over 380 videos on the case, trying to keep it alive, trying to spread awareness, even if it is failing nowadays when you look at the viewer count, but I'm doing what I can. And supposedly I'm the one that's causing all the division, all the chaos, all the drama, and all the problems within the entire case from start to finish. But there's only one person in this entire world that is the cancer and is the problem, and supposedly that is me. It's an interesting outlook that Justin Roy has, because before I even existed in the community, Justin Roy was already having problems with other people and the dark side. And even when I did come on in and I was on the light side first of all, and Justin was okay with me, but there was other tension and conflict elsewhere which Justin was battling with. And then onwards, when it came to the first anniversary, and it was the army page, it was Victor Presgrove, it was Robin Smith and some others calling out and referring to Justin Roy and Tiffany Shepherd. So there was division there amongst the victim's family and the general public, like Justin Roy. There was tension and division when it came to the army page and Justin Roy and some others kicking off people just because they questioned Caden simply for asking questions and so on. So they were booted aside, casted away and called out and labelled other people just for talking to those from the dark side in casual ways, for being suddenly accused of being paid off or having deep pockets, erratic, irrational labelling and behaviour. So Justin Roy, who has single-handedly at times casted people aside and labelled them, so then they've gone away and they've regrouped elsewhere and they may have been more welcomed onto the dark side or formed a new group. Justin, I think you may have caused a bit of division before I supposedly did. If we're talking about division, or at least highlighting it, categorizing, I've categorized it, I've highlighted it, and I was the catalyst yet once again in life. I was the catalyst that was the first to highlight the third wave, the third group of misfits. And people slowly caught on to that, and then others when it was too late. So all in all, Justin Roy is in no position whatsoever to make false accusations or just claims in general about WarLike Wrath being the only person to cause division. There was division long before I came into the case, and when I was involved in the case and on the light side and the army page for quite a few months, there was more division forming then and onwards, and still now. So Justin has made a very infantile, reckless, degenerative point and a very terrible, piss-poor observation there. Rather embarrassing. Next point mentioned when Justin was giving examples, well, Mikey Lair, did he not fish hook Noah? That's aggressive, right? And then did Brian Sweat not slap Noah? That's aggressive, right? Oh, Shandon as well. Justin Roy, you didn't give that example of Shandon slapping Noah. Isn't that aggressive? Well, don't worry, Justin. All your dreams are going to come all at once like it's Christmas, because I'm going to do a very deep map analysis and map it out. Granted, my observations and balance and perspective and open look probably will not satisfy or please you. You may get your pants in a twist and you may whinge and whine, but the initial marking out of events of possible violence and physicality, I will acknowledge shortly. Okay, Justin? I'm not going to comment on it right now because I'll do it when I get to the map. Even mentioned by Justin along Jack Newton, in own words, had said he got into an argument with Noah. And it was Jack Newton who minimized it, dismissed it. External manipulative minimization, a term which I coined and created myself in life. Catalyst again with what I've dealt with. See, the thing is, yeah, Jack said, yeah, we argued, as in both parties to blame. But in terms of what Caden Pressey has said, not quite in line. In terms of Justin Roy claiming that Caden broke up the argument, Caden has never acknowledged that himself, which is a bit weird. That Caden only observed and overheard with his ears, and that was it, did not get involved. So why would Justin be saying something different when Caden, who was actually there, did not do what Justin claimed? Very weird. And what's the other one by Justin? Heard second-hand information that it was aggressive, as in the argument on Saturday. But Caden said it was past midnight, meaning early Sunday. It's a bit of it's an understandable situation. I thought it was Saturday night originally until Caden said what he said. It's probably late Saturday going into early Sunday morning, a bit of crossover, not the end of the world. But for Justin to say, I heard second-hand information, that's exactly how it should have been worded in the past. And from my memory, it was never delivered that way. Justin Roy tends to word it the correct way, but a few months or a year too late. Because I remember in the early days when Justin did his interview, okay, he made a reference about his family nephews down at the party. So they would have been the eyes on the ground to relay it to Justin. But it just didn't seem clear enough as to where Justin got his information from directly, if that makes sense, and onwards. I did my videos at the time. Even if I misunderstood or I misheard, I did countless videos in the past constantly asking the question, Justin, where exactly did you get it from? How did you exactly hear it? Was it specifically from your family, a family that was attending there? They saw it with their own eyes, just like with Carter and others wiping their phones. Did someone visually see a person factory resetting their phones? You know, something like that. And Justin never answered. And yet again, what tends to happen, I have questions in general, maybe questions in life, and humans do not bother to answer. And then later, humans expect me to know. Humans expect me and also complain and have a go at me. What reality am I in amongst everything else? It's ridiculous. The fact that I am still consciously, rationally speaking in this world is a fucking miracle. And I'm not talking about cases, I'm talking about in general. It's a bloody miracle, right? Because there's many other humans out there that really wouldn't be able to. So we're taking that all into consideration with what Justin has said. He's not as active anymore, but he makes up for it in his ridiculous comments at times. And to add on to that, not so much to compliment, because I don't think you can compliment stuff like that. I'll move on to my map analysis of the theme of physicality and what's gone on, or what had gone on at the party, and so on. Here we are. So you can see it seems to be absolutely cluttered with text on screen. Where do we start? Well, we start from the beginning. Take in mind that there's a lot of events which may not have timestamps attached, but it is what it is. If in the future we get reinforcement that these events truly did occur and at a certain time, then we'll do so. But the only thing that's gone about is what's been mentioned in the community, and not all of it has come from the horse's mouth. I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer there. The aim of this is to try and determine, was Noah Presgrove in danger or what? Was there a bit of a misunderstanding when it comes to the atmosphere, when it comes to the claims of physicality and violence, as what Justin says? The odd argument where it was supposedly aggressive, that's very important. And I've mentioned it over and over again. So Justin, Roy, at least acknowledge that. Really, come on. So, what I have done, it looks like a bloody surgical procedure, which is quite fitting when you've got Dr. Wrath present with all his tools on hand. It looks like I've done a bloody stitching of a bloody open cut. Have you seen that? All those lines. I'm actually quite impressed, to be honest. It looks really aesthetic as well. So we've gone for the doctor's approach. You get the scalpel, you separate it, and you stitch it back together again. Now, bit of a traffic jam over here in text. It's a bit all over the place. These aren't as relevant, okay? This was just to do with an old project, to do with the so-called side-by-side rollover cadence time given of it, and then the shower with Carter and Jasmine assisting with Noah. No big deal there for today. 2 to 3, Noah walks off. That's a separate thing. Jack calls out Colton talking to Carter Combs on Saturday. Bit of tension, told not to come back the following day, and supposedly that's true, did not come back or onwards. Caden Pressey in the text conversation never released when I relayed it to you as a summary, out of respect for privacy and conditions. Jack Newton ordered Travis Monson and Colton Newton to leave the house. And this was on the Saturday. So they were there earlier, Colton and Travis. Supposedly, it's been mentioned by Caden that supposedly, from what he's heard, that Travis made the girls uncomfortable at the party, picking them up, placing them on the countertop for some reason, and insulting them, speaking badly. And Travis and Colton did steal alcohol, so that when they came back to the party later on in the day, evening time, Jack found out and told them to leave because of that. But we previously also heard the mention of Jack calling out Colton talking to Carter Combs, and that originated from that Snapchat convo between a mystery person claiming to be Noah's friend. People claim it was Vanessa Salazar in disguise talking with Colton himself. So the horse's mouth Colton claimed that was called out by Jack, younger brother, for talking to Carter. So if Jack is defensive for anyone talking to Carter, yet Jack is supposedly okay in going behind best friend Noah's back and flirting with Noah's girlfriend at the time. Seems a bit double standards, bit of a hypocrite, based on the so-called stories mentioned. Okay? First one we focus on, which is the Saturday. Shandon, I don't know how to spell the name, going to be honest with you. The blonde girl in the pink shirt. We've looked at her in recent time, amongst with Noah Presgrove, explaining how Noah lost his sunglasses because of being slapped by Shandon, never picking them up possibly, and then other people picking them up, or they've just been lost and forgotten about until too late. So that's for previous video reference. You can always check out my channel. When Shandon slapped Noah, Shandon specifically focused and locked in on Noah. Jack Newton barged in and said, "Hey, punch me, punch me." So Jack wanted more than a slap. Shandon ignored, pushed Jack aside. Why was Shandon so adamant on slapping Noah Presgrove when another guy stepped up to take the slap or punch? Now, it appears that they were joking around, no big deal. On that occasion, though, on the Saturday, Noah Presgrove braced for it. He accepted it, but he didn't resist, and he wasn't asking for it the same way as he was asking Brylan to slap him. You get what I'm saying? Noah kind of just looked around as she pulled him towards him and then just slapped Noah, and Noah just braced for impact and didn't really react, nonchalant about it. Maybe because he wasn't bothered, maybe because he was so drunk, so he didn't really react. You let me know what you think. Now, yes, physical contact was made. Was it done in an aggressive way? You could say it's somewhat of an aggressive act, slapping someone. Because at the end of the day, you can aggressively slap someone because you mean to do it, you want to do it, you intend to do it, and to inflict and cause maybe a level of pain, a level of revenge on them in the moment. But then other times you can be physically aggressive if you're having naughty time with someone, and while it's getting all that, and then you end up slapping them. The other person might like it and take pleasure to it, but it's still an aggressive act. So you've got to be careful how you use this language and wording. Physical contact, but in the atmosphere and the theme behind it, Noah didn't seem bothered by it. Shandon was laughing about it. Did Noah deserve to be slapped? No, not really, because Noah wasn't even asking for it. But at the same time, Noah didn't resist or try dodging or moving away or catching her hand. So it seems as if Noah was just accepting of it. I don't know if anyone would interpret that in a dark way or in a submissive way or just in a nonchalant, not really caring, bothered way. Yeah, it's a slap. It's one slap. Is it the end of the world? No. Could it hurt? Probably. Could sting a little. I'll just say on that basis, Noah didn't deserve to be slapped. But in terms of the atmosphere, there seemed to be laughing and joking, and Shandon wasn't there the day after or the day after that. So this seems like an isolated case, a separate little event. But a form of physicality was involved. Let's just put it that way. But you got to take in mind, physicality, as in Noah Presgrove, is on the receiving end. So if you're on the receiving end in the first place, how does that justify you end up dying afterwards? If it was the other way around, where Noah Presgrove physically assaulted someone, as a theme, as a suggestion, as a theory, and only that, if Noah Presgrove laid his hands on someone at the party, then someone could put the case across and say, well, then the same individual or someone else got revenge and gave Noah a taste of their own medicine, right? If it's that way around. But that's not the case. Noah is on the receiving end of this and that. It doesn't justify his death. It's like, talk about kicking someone when they're already down, like when false karma comes about. A person who's been on the receiving end of being used, screwed. Let me just use myself as example, okay? A bit of a sacrificial lamb here, but I'm willing to do it in all seriousness. In my life, I have been screwed over so many times. I've been disappointed here and there. I've been given a lot of false hope and it didn't lead to anything, okay? It's been disappointing. I've been let down. I've been used and so on and so on. And yet after all of that and in between, karma has caught up, but not on the person that did that to me, not on the people, but karma caught up onto me. And I got punished, or something bad happened to me, or something else happened bad to me, and so on and so on. And I'm thinking, is this supposed to be happening? You know, a bad person does a bad action, I'm on the receiving end, and karma comes about, but it comes at me, and I get punished. For doing what? For being on the receiving end of being used or screwed, and so on and so on. For people playing with my mind, for people playing with I guess emotions or whatever. It's like, why should I be on the receiving end of that and then be punished further? For what? Being the victim? It's so weird. You know? What next? Somebody tries shooting or stabbing me, and then afterwards karma catches up. Not on them, but on me. I get hit by a bus. I get pecked by a seagull. My eyes get pulled out. I don't, see, this is the thing. I don't want to be narcissistic, but I just don't feel like I deserve that. Right? It probably sounds narcissistic, that, but I just don't feel like I deserve that stuff. But it's happened. So for Noah Presgrove, if Noah Presgrove is in a situation where he's on the receiving end of things, and then he dies on top of it, how's that fair? It just isn't. It's weird. But that's only based on that concept, right? It's an isolated event, that particular one. What else do we have? Aggressive. Yeah, so this is the one mentioned by Justin Roy. He said Saturday. Caden Pressey said past midnight. So I'm just saying 12 a.m. 0000. Okay, Sunday morning. Noah Presgrove yelled at Jack. Now, from what Justin worded and beyond and onwards in the community, it was an argument between Noah and Jack. An argument between them. So back and forth. So anyone could be to blame. The theme to do with girl trouble. Okay. Is what it is. But when Caden Pressey specified who started it, it was Noah. And if it's true, Noah had every right to be calling out Jack, yelling, in the words of Caden, who overheard it, at least. Noah yelling at Jack because best friend Jack was flirting behind Noah's back with Noah's girlfriend. Did it all happen on the same day, Saturday or Sunday? Apologies about that. I know I said in brackets Saturday and it says 12 a.m. I mean Sunday at 12 in the morning, 0000, okay? In brackets, Saturday is what Justin was saying it happened. So there's a bit of a crossover. Apologies about that. But, you know, if it's all true, Noah Presgrove has the right to start it and have a go at Jack. Now, as for the context as when Jack was flirting with Noah's girlfriend behind his back at the party, a day before, a week before, I've asked this question over and over again, no answers whatsoever. But Justin Roy did say that that particular argument was aggressive and there was pushing and shoving and Caden broke it up. Caden never acknowledged or admitted to that. Justin Roy claimed it. So why is Caden not being honest then? Or is Justin Roy got wrong information? One or the other. Jack worded it as if they both argued, girl trouble, they cried, they hugged and made up. That's kind of splitting the blame 50-50. If Jack flirted with Noah's girlfriend behind the back, it's one-sided that. Noah has every right to have a go at Jack. Is that why there was aggressive pushing and shoving? Well, it would make sense. But this is the thing, Justin. Yeah, aggressive, pushing and shoving. Could it have escalated any further? Who knows? Did it act as a grudge till Monday when Noah was finally finished off? It wouldn't make sense, because if it's true that Jack had done wrong, Noah is the victim to this. Just like how Noah, in a way, is a victim to being slapped by Shandon. Maybe it's not that deep, but more so Noah is on the receiving end of a negative action, which can be considered a little aggressive, depending on how you look at it. This particular situation, Noah Presgrove on the receiving end of being screwed over by his best friend and Noah's girlfriend flirting and Jack flirting together, feeling stabbed in the back, betrayed, and so on. It's not right, it's not fair. But to be trying to create a link that, well, because there's aggression and that there's pushing that could link to Noah's death in some way, well, who started the pushing and shoving? Because if it's Noah Presgrove, does that give ammunition for Jack to fight back a different day and get revenge? It doesn't really justify it, because one person's done wrong. They don't really have any justification behind getting revenge on Noah when it's all their fault. They've done wrong. Noah is on the receiving end, kind of like a victim. And then what? Noah's got screwed over. Noah is entitled to give a piece of his mind to Jack. And then a day or two later, then Noah's killed for it. Noah is killed for getting a bit aggressive or pushing with Jack when Jack was flirting with Noah's girlfriend. Noah is on the receiving end of this, gives a piece of his mind as he's entitled to, and then later killed for it because of the whole aggression and pushing. It just doesn't link. It doesn't make sense. If, let's just say, that it was Noah that was flirting with Jack's girlfriend or something like that, Noah talking with Jack's girlfriend, hugging or something, and Jack got jealous or insecure in some way, and Jack started being aggressive or pushing Noah. It's like Noah's done wrong, got onto the wrong side of someone at the party, and that someone at the party could get revenge on Noah for doing wrong later. See, not that I'm saying it did happen, because it clearly didn't, but if we're just basing this event and form of aggression to justify a death of someone, it doesn't justify Noah's death. More so, if Noah was to have killed Jack, that would have made more sense, considering Noah's on the receiving end of this, stabbed in the back, screwed over, loyalty broken in the moment. Noah's entitled to get revenge. Not that it's justified enough to kill someone, but it would make a little bit more sense that way round than it being worded the way Caden Pressey did. I really hope that's made clear enough. I can't really make it any clearer. Next one, at whatever time that was. I think this might have been Sunday morning, possibly, when waking up. Avery Combs finds Logan Jernigan and Noah Presgrove on the floor together, sleeping together. Supposedly, they passed out before going to wherever. Now, Logan likely going to her bedroom, but passed out before she could get to the room. Makes sense. It can happen. People can pass out. Some people pass out more than others, and they're not even drunk. But in this case, alcohol on the table, literally present. There's a reason behind passing out in that extent. But for Noah Presgrove to pass out as well, besides Logan, is there a possibility that where Logan was going, Noah was going to follow, as in the bedroom? Makes you wonder. So, whilst they were just simply sleeping close to each other, someone worded it in the community that it was in the same room as Avery's. I don't know how true that is, but they were on the floor somewhere at least. Robin Smith, Ashley Chadwick contested and said they did a bit more than that Noah Presgrove and Logan were kissing and had sexual encounters as well. Never seen that before. Not seen any hard evidence of it, but that's what Robin Smith, Ashley Chadwick claimed. If you remember, Partners in True Crime interview. So what's so significant about this? How does it link to physicality or any danger with Noah? Well, it's what was said. And I know you can't see it because it just so happens to be on that bloody coloured pathway. Can I zoom in any more? Just so it's a bit easier to read. Avery supposedly said, "I will kill you if you've done anything." I don't know if that meant I will kill you, Noah, or I will kill you, Logan, or I will kill both of you if I find out that you have done any funny business, if you have got intimate with one another, and so on. Right? What gives Avery the right and the position to be stating it like that on authority with a warning or a threat? Now, take in mind, friends and people can say, oh, I'll kill you and this and that, and it's not literally meant. The only reason why this is taken more seriously, because unfortunately after this was said, time passing by, next day or so, Noah Presgrove ends up dying. So when you're looking back at red flags and you're looking back at what could have happened, and then you see someone issuing kind of like a death threat, you're going to take it a lot more serious when there is a death involved in the case. If Noah Presgrove never died, if you was to read this, you wouldn't think anything of it. Oh, friends being friends, messing about, not being serious or literal. But sometimes people can actually mean what they say, right? See, there's a lot of humans in life that say a lot of overinflated stuff. Oh my God, like I watched this 50 times. Oh my God, like I did this. Oh my God, like I've got no one. Oh my God, like I am a lone wolf. Oh my God, this and that. It's like, bollocks. It's all exaggerated. They are better off. They do have this. They do have that. They're nothing like the other person they're trying to relate to. Whereas me in life, when I say something, even if it's negative, right, it's because I'm being honest. I'm being realistic. There is no point exaggerating it. There's no point trying to sugarcoat it. There's no point trying to be positive when there's no real reason to be positive. If you've got to be realistic and sharp and negative and whatnot to really explain the situation, make it as clear as possible, then that's what you do. But too many people overinflate too much hot air and it doesn't go anywhere, right? But this particular quote, it implies danger, right? Noah Presgrove at the time caught out or misinterpreted a misunderstanding, and Avery says, if I find out you've done anything, I'll kill you. So is it possible that as days passed by, Avery did find out what Noah had done previously, so Avery decided to kill Noah or get someone else to kill Noah? You can say, well, partygoers wouldn't do that, people wouldn't do this and do that, but it's just very unfortunate and also very coincidental how a death threat like this issued to Noah, and Noah turns out to die later. It's an unfortunate circumstance that, and a coincidence at least, but you got to highlight it as a threat. It could link to the bedroom debacle. We'll get to that. Next one, third, Sunday, Noah Presgrove wrestling with Mikey Lair. Well, that could be considered aggressive, right? Physical contact. But is the wrestling done in a light-hearted way, joking around, laughing? Who knows? We've not seen the hard evidence. We've not seen the timestamp. We've not seen any video footage of it, right? I believe at one point, Caden Pressey claimed it happened on a Saturday. Mikey wasn't even there on a Saturday. But I was only re-quoting what other people said. Says a lot, doesn't it? But the majority consensus is it happened Sunday. Noah wrestling Mikey, and supposedly Noah dominated Mikey. I have said previously that did Mikey get a bit jealous or frustrated and then took it out on Noah afterwards? I've already highlighted that. If people have watched, if people have researched, I've already acknowledged it. What we can acknowledge here, a form of physicality, maybe a form of aggression, depending on if it was play fighting, play wrestling, or there was a bit more depth and darkness behind it. Where would the wrestling occur? Inside of the party house, the pasture, round the front. No location has been given. The porch, front patio area. Because you've got to take in mind that if there is wrestling, depending on the moves that are used, legal or illegal moves, if you're doing it on a hard surface, probably not a good idea. It could lead to injury. So did anyone get injured between Noah and Mikey Sunday evening, for example? Is there any video footage, hard evidence, snaps of it taking place to justify it? Does this justify Noah's death? No. Does it link to Noah's death on the day? Nope, because it's Sunday. But it's a form of physicality. But it's interesting how all the supposed physical events and most of the negatives and the aggressive stuff that took place wasn't recorded. Convenient or a coincidence? You let me know. Next one. Another instance with Mikey and Noah. Oh, once again. Now, the funny thing is, Justin Roy kind of pointed across saying, you know, there was aggression and there was aggressive physicality at the party, so it's got to mean something, right, when Noah's on the receiving end of it. And Justin Roy was bringing up Mikey Lair's name about the fish hooking, and that's considered aggressive. Why are you, Justin, suggesting that Mikey's involved in Noah's death? Or in agreement with it or something, because you, Justin, are the one that mentioned about Mikey being scared for his life, as in maybe knowing something about he might have done something to Noah. Is Justin turning on Mikey, or has Justin forgotten? I wonder. Interesting. Physical injuries when it comes to the fish hooking, because Noah Presgrove did bite, well, supposedly bit Mikey Le's finger. What's this all about? Oh, has it got anything to do with earlier when wrestling Mikey and between Noah and Mikey? Maybe not. Or there was a bit of pettiness, you never know. But Mikey lost his phone, or felt that he did. Caden Pressey was accidentally resting on it or covering it with his body. Mikey, for some reason, assumed Noah was responsible. Maybe because Mikey doesn't like Noah at the time, frustrated, or Noah's just seen as the prankster, so Mikey just assumed that Noah was likely responsible. Mikey somehow puts his fingers, probably Mikey was stood behind, put his fingers around into Noah's mouth, hooked round the inside of the cheek and pulled. And in doing so, Noah reacted and bit Mikey Le's finger. Did it escalate any further? Supposedly not. Is there any video evidence, hard evidence of it taking place? Yet to see it. But was there any physical injuries? Was Noah hurt by Mikey? Was Mikey hurt by Noah when Noah bit on his finger? Who knows? But physicality, aggression, well, it depends what the atmosphere and tone was like. You know, Shandon slapping Noah sounds bad. But when you hear them joking and laughing and Noah not really reacting or bothered about it, doesn't sound that deep or doesn't appear as bad as you might think. But this, we're just basing it off words and description. And like with really anything, when you read it with words, when you read a message, when you read an email, when you read a text, people can describe it one way. But if they were to describe it to you verbally, it might have a different impact on your outlook, right? It's hard to explain situations. It can be hard to explain yourself in words and when typing or writing. For other people, it might be easier, but sometimes the verbal communication can tell a better story. But you know what will tell an even better story is the actual hard evidence of it. We're yet to see it. So it's open interpretation, this. It could be considered aggressive, of course. It is interesting how Mikey assumes and takes it out on Noah, Noah being on the receiving end again. But it was supposedly resolved shortly after. Next one, on the 4th. Now, if I have missed out any other events, apologies, we can always add it in a future video. The 4th, which was at 1:05 in the morning, Brylan Sweat slapped Noah. Physical contact, playing around. It sounded like they were playing around. Justin says it was aggressive, was it not? No, it wasn't aggressive, unless you heard the small talk or supposed reference of stab you or Brylan's got a knife or something like that. A little bit tense, but on that occasion, Noah Presgrove was asking for it. Literally. Eye contact made, confronting, saying, go on, do it, slap me. I promise I won't slap back, just do it. And Noah like either touching Brylan to say, come on, do it. What was he supposed to do? You know, if Brylan slapping Noah, and then if Noah said, oh, why did you do that? Well, it's like, you asked for it, literally. You know, if a person consents and is in full agreement with it and really wants it, and then they get it, not really in a position to be complaining if they're consciously aware and give clear consent. And Noah Presgrove, on that occasion, was asking to be slapped. Aggression or not, it was met 50-50 then. 50-50 intenseness. Does it justify Noah's death? No, because Noah's on the receiving end. A little bit different this time because Noah was asking for it, when with Shandon, Noah wasn't. So there's that. So yeah, I didn't give him a time on that because I forgot to add it in, but it is 1:05 in the morning because we've seen it ourselves over and over again. Bedroom debacle. Later on. Because, you know, after 1:05, after 1:50, from 1:50 to 3:30, there's not really any more documented hard evidence material, with the exception of Pepe Guam and Mikey Les supposedly hiding under a traffic barrel outside at 2:32 in the morning. But besides that, we don't have anything else which concerns of Noah Presgrove at this moment. But with the bedroom debacle where Noah Presgrove goes in one room, Avery's wants to sleep in the bed, rejected. either before or after that goes to Logan's rejected. And depending on the order, Noah Presgrove, as it's been mentioned in some interviews, I think Justin may have mentioned it, maybe Caden did, and it's definitely been mentioned in the community, that when rejected and Noah Presgrove didn't get what he wanted, supposedly Noah called Avery a fat beep, and you see it written there, basically censored just to be safe because of YouTube, right? Does it justify Noah doing that? No, you don't really need to be saying that. Does it justify Noah being killed? No. But if you used to add it all together, because the other point is what's been mentioned online is that Avery then chased after Noah Presgrove. Is that when Noah was leaving the party? Was Noah Presgrove chased out of the house? Did Noah get so far and then Avery caught up as Noah was putting on mismatched shoes? Makes you wonder. This particular thing highlighted in red could link to what was mentioned earlier about when it came to either Sunday morning or Saturday past midnight, Avery found Logan and Noah on the floor sleeping together, and Avery said, "I will kill you if you have done anything together." Fast forward on to the bedroom situation where Noah goes to Logan, supposedly from what Jack says, and if that was first, then to go to Avery, and Avery may have felt like a third wheel, which I think was suggested or quoted in that way, not wanting to be used. You know, it's kind of insulting in a way, but what gives Avery the right to put people on notice? If I find out you've done anything, you're dead. I'll kill you. And then for Avery afterwards to be just frustrated with Noah in some way, not allowing him to sleep in the bed with her. I mean, they weren't even together, were they? So why is Avery so concerned with Noah's love life or social aspect to life? Is there some unknown stuff going on? Is it because Avery was once with Noah in the past, so Avery's a bit protective still of Noah or something like that? Jealousy? What's going on? Is it the alcohol talking? But anyway, if, let's just say, Avery in her mind felt she was entitled to call out Noah and or Logan for sleeping on the floor together and saying, if you've done anything, I will kill you. And then comes Monday and Noah goes to Logan's bed, rejected, goes to Avery's bed. And if Avery had a sense, a doubt, or a thought, or knew what was up, Avery, within right, is entitled to feel insulted, as in, oh, so you went to her first, didn't work out, you come to me next, second best option. How rude. Makes sense. And then if rejected, then no, if true, calls Avery a fat beep. It's about kicking someone when they're already down. They've been disrespected, treated as second best, and now called a fat beep. In that small occasion, Avery's got a right to yell back or maybe chase Noah down within reason, but it doesn't justify death. But is it a component? Seems a bit tense. What I will acknowledge, these supposed tense moments, especially the bedroom debacle, because it's closest to Noah's death and the build-up to it and when walking away, it just feels like none of it seems to be publicly documented, I guess. Moving on. Jack and Noah argue. Originally mentioned by Justin Roy, but this one wasn't physical or aggressive from what Justin had said. Only the Saturday one past midnight. The earlier back days before when it happens, because it's further away from the time of Noah's death, it might not link the same way. If, and it's not the case, but if this particular so-called argument was the physical aggressive one, it would make more sense leading up to Noah's death because it's really near the time of it. This particular argument, though, was glossed over by Jack Newton, whilst it might have been talked about on and off, not by Jack, but other people in the case over time. When Jack Newton got to the time of the Parts in True Crime interview, the pre-recorded one, instead of Jack adding on by saying, oh, and there was an argument as well between me and Noah on Monday, Jack didn't mention that as what everyone else did. Jack didn't acknowledge what Justin Roy did. Jack glossed over it and added in a new event which has never been heard before, that it was Logan to see Noah walking away, last person, which kind of caught people's attention off guard. Weird, isn't it? How that interview, Jack first time mentions Logan, last person to see Noah, because it was never mentioned before. And Jack mentioned about Noah was found with one shoe on, one shoe off. Never been mentioned before, not even by the ME report. why is Jack saying any of that? So we've not been physical, not big of a deal in a way, but ever since that wrongful death lawsuit, it was added in detail that it was Jack Newton and Avery that argued with Noah. No time given, but it's assumed that it's probably just before Noah walked away or in the process, and it was described in quotes as a verbal fight. So, pretty aggressive. Why would it be with Jack and Avery against Noah? Avery against Noah because probably the bedroom debacle and insulting us supposedly, but then Jack stepping on in. What gives Jack the right to be calling out Noah when Jack, a few days before, supposedly was caught out or found out by Noah by flirting with Noah's girlfriend? Jack isn't really in any position. Unless Jack was only jumping on in, Jack in a box, was jumping in with Avery primarily because with Jack being with Carter in a relationship, Carter's sister with Avery, sisters, that, you know, you will get close to him and defend one's honour on behalf of someone else because you're close, and there might be a bit of an emotional biasness, whereas if you didn't know Carter or if you weren't in a relationship with Carter, then you probably wouldn't be stepping up for Carter's older sister, Avery. There's that possible magnetising emotional effect and pull worth taking into consideration. But the closer this is to Noah's death, the more important it is. A verbal fight can be aggressive in words, and it can escalate. And if there's alcohol as well, you can see where it can go. Am I saying this absolutely justifies Noah's death? No, but in terms of how one thing can escalate to another, it's always possible. It's just worth acknowledging here and there. I know I've done my other analysis as well previously, but, you know, got to do it bit by bit. 3:30, Noah walks off about, was he followed? You know, if there was an argument, if there's anything before that, was there a psychological magnetising effect in which if there's unfinished business, they feel there's a bit of grudge, a bit of attention, revenge, avenging, someone or some people could follow after Noah and make him pay the price. But for what? What would be the price for Noah? Noah wasn't flirting with Jack or any of the guys' girlfriends. Logan wasn't in a relationship at the time, so even if Noah did do something with Logan, the only person Noah was disappointing or letting down would have been Noah's actual girlfriend, who wasn't at the party then. I don't think there was any mention of Noah doing anything with Carter, even though Jack seemed to get triggered supposedly by Colton, older brother to Jack, talking simply to Carter on the Saturday. If Noah, unless the only other thing I could think of was Noah Presgrove having the shower and Carter and Jasmine being in the same room, and if Jack got jealous of that because Carter, Jack's girlfriend, was with Noah, best friend to Jack, could have been a bit of jealousy in some way. I get that. Friends, yeah, it's a tricky situation in a way, because at the end of the day, if you're in a don't worry, this is not a TikTok video psychological analysis, but the reality is, if at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship with someone and you're somewhat close and you've been together for a little bit, you should be able to understand and respect each other's boundaries. One person may be quite outgoing and energetic and a bit dodgy or has been. The other person could be a bit more what would you call it? A bit more quieter or a bit more subdued, maybe not as outgoing, a bit not as interactive, and it's just trying to find the correct balance. And if one person keeps on going with their life and how they act out and how they are around other people, inappropriate behaviour or awkward situations, you know, like that, where it's maybe not sexual, flirty stuff like that, what strain, what impact does that have on the other half? Is it fair for them to hear about it all, what the other person's been getting up to and doing and all that, and being the last person to hear about it? You know, if you're in a relationship, it should be exclusive, one-on-one, and it should mean something. Now, okay, maybe this is going a bit too deep and a bit too far, because if you're at a party, as they are, and if they've not really known that each other or been together that long, it might be very casual, and people of certain generations may treat it very casual, and it means absolutely nothing in life, and it might be different to other people. But, you know, there's got to be boundaries, and if Jack got a bit jealous or a bit insecure, whilst we can use those little buzzwords to call out Jack in negative ways, does Jack ever have a point? Is Jack in a right position, entitled to be a bit frustrated if other people were messing with Carter, or if Carter was messing with other people at the time. There could be a bit of frustration. It's understandable. And like with the shower situation, best friend of Jack's, which is Noah, in the shower, supposedly naked, and Jack's girlfriend's in the same room with Noah, naked. Whilst nothing inappropriate supposedly happened, and it was above board, it was said that Carter and Jasmine were holding Noah up. And even if it was done appropriately, holding a naked person, your best friend, up, and your girlfriend is laying hands on your best friend, depending who you are and how your mind is and what you've been through in the past, it could fuck you up. You know, it could create all kinds of visions. And of course, oneself has to control themselves within reason, of course. But you don't know the mental impact it can have on people in the moment, at least, maybe heat of the moment, or when they learn to process what's just happened. You've done that. Girlfriend, you've done that with my best friend in the shower, and he was naked. Ugh. You know, when you start getting that mental picture, do you really want to know about it? Do you want to hear about it? Do you want to be told about it? It's not fair on them, right? It's not fair on Jack, but we don't know the full context. We don't know if that's even a reason or if that's even a motive. But just basing it off what's already been claimed, that Jack got frustrated at Colton for Colton simply talking to Carter. Well, then if Noah Presgrove was to be talking and laughing, but also be naked and in the shower, and Carter nearby holding him up, that's probably more likely to drive Jack more over the edge in a more aggressive way, just based on that measuring scale. And that's all I'm saying. Is it enough justification behind death? No. Would Jack be thinking, oh, is this an eye for an eye because I was flirting behind your back with your girlfriend and now you're doing it with mine? Could there be an eye for an eye there? Well, if there was, then it would be 50-50. One did one, the other one responded, and then that's it. You're equal now, but some people don't always take it that way. Just wanted to add it in for additional context. And then later, Avery, Carter arguing on the front porch. It's been claimed, it's been suggested. I think Caden may have brought it up, or more so Justin Roy. There's video footage of it. Somebody recorded it from outside. Who recorded it? Don't know. What time? Not too sure, but likely after Noah had walked away. What was it about? Likely Noah. Was it directly about Noah walking away and they couldn't find him, so they were arguing and saying, what would be the arguments about? Maybe Carter could be blaming Avery, saying, Avery, if you never chased Noah off, then Noah would still be here. Or Carter could say, Avery, if you never threatened Noah that, oh, you would kill them, you would kill him. If you found out about him and Logan doing something, you would have been okay. You know, things like that. Blame game, here at the moment, may have not been meant at the time, but now when you reflect back, it's easier to nitpick and be critical of things which you may have done or which the other person may have done, and so on and so on. Very interesting indeed. So, enough events in which Noah Presgrove is kind of on the receiving end of, but not enough events of Noah doing bad stuff to piss somebody off or some people to justify him being killed for it. Why should Noah Presgrove be on the receiving end of many things to then later end up being dead as well on top of it all? It just doesn't seem right. So either there's got to be more to it, more depth, another explanation, another thing we've not heard of before, or it was some unfortunate accident. Because it doesn't seem like Noah Presgrove has done much wrong at the party, unless there's some unknown stuff which hasn't been mentioned. But yeah, I'd say there's physicality here and there. Some of it is done as a joke, messing about. Other parts could be interpreted as aggressive, threatening. And because it leads up to Noah's death, it doesn't look good. Let's just put it like that. With that all being said, what does it ultimately lead to? Does it lead to in support of Justin Roy and what he was getting at? As in that several partygoers claimed that Noah Presgrove was murdered or met with foul play. Even if that was the case, based on the events, the physicality and so-called stuff, would it be enough to justify Noah being killed for it? No. So there would have to be a deeper reason for it. I said, I've not seen several partygoers say it's murder. I've only seen Caden Pressey say or interpret it as murder. That's it. So what does Justin Roy know which other people don't? Or when was it posted and why has it not been reposted? Because it sounds important enough, right? You know, when there's that whole debate of murder versus accident, if there are people, the horse's mouse, partygoers saying it's murder, Shouldn't that be shared more public or reiterated again and again and again, considering people like to go round and round in circles about the golf clubs and it's not even from the horse's mouth when it comes to that discussion? People like going round in circles and constantly bringing it up like a broken record with the golf clubs, but ultimately it had led to a bit of a resolve when Casey Smith in that conversation came out, the message, DM, where she said the golf clubs and bag haven't been returned back, still missing, and it tied in with what Robin and Ashley Chadwick had said in the past as well. So there was a bit of a consensus there. But what I'm getting at is just a general talk about it, constantly going round, regurgitated. Why not focus on something more important then, like with the whole Justin Roy claim of several partygoers claiming Noah was murdered? Show the names, show the people from the horse's mouth and their comments and all that. And if Justin or someone says, well, it can't be because it's private and it's this and that. Well, if it was, then how the hell do you expect me to know about it and acknowledge it if I've not been shown it myself and if I can't show it to the public? And furthermore, how does the general public expect to know about it if they've never been told? That is the problem. Expecting someone to know how to ride a bike, fly a plane, and they've not even gone through the training process of it. What is going on, this mentality with the human race at times? I see too much of it, too much, and in other areas as well. And the whole point about the Jack Newton arguments we put across, that Jack admitted it as well. Admitted what? They argued together, him and Noah, as in sharing the blame 50-50. Well, Caden worded it as it was all Jack's fault and Noah was yelling into Jack, giving him a piece of his mind. One-sided, but Noah seemed entitled based on what Jack had done, supposedly. So unless there's a bit more depth to that, unless Caden Pressey's a bit incorrect, because he said he overheard it and he didn't see it, or didn't mention that sensory option of seeing it, just hearing. Who knows at this point? But in terms of the map analysis, what I've done today, I might have done something a little bit similar in the past, but not as deep. So if you've got any additional points you want to add on, any missed out events, supposed stuff that took place which was aggressive or fights, leave a comment down below and maybe I can add it into the future and analyse it further. But we'll leave it there for now. We'll see what happens next. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night.